Have you ever stopped to wonder who is truly in charge? You hold your phone in your hand, you tap its smooth glass screen, you decide which app to open. It feels like you are the one making all the choices. But what if I told you that, more often than not, the phone is the one pulling the strings? What if the device you believe serves you has been meticulously engineered to control you? This isn't a scene from a science fiction movie. It is the reality for billions of us every single day. The sleek, powerful computer in your pocket is more than just a tool. It is a masterful puppeteer, and its strings are wrapped around our habits, our attention, even our emotions. We carry these devices with us everywhere. They are the first thing we reach for in the morning and the last thing we see at night. They promise connection, information, entertainment, and they deliver. But they also take something from us, often without us even noticing. Let's begin with a story about someone you might know. Her name is Alex. Her alarm doesn't come from a clock. It comes from her phone, which slept on the nightstand right next to her head. The moment she silences the alarm, her day truly begins. Before her feet even touch the floor, her thumb instinctively swipes open a cascade of overnight notifications. There are emails from work, a few likes on a photo she posted, a breaking news alert, and a reminder from a game that her energy has been refilled. Her brain, still shaking off sleep, is immediately flooded with a mix of social validation, professional obligation, and digital chores. As Alex gets ready, her phone is her constant companion. She streams a podcast while brushing her teeth, the voices filling the silence of her apartment. While making coffee, she scrolls through a social media feed, her eyes scanning an endless river of curated lives, vacation photos, and political arguments. She sees a friend's engagement photo and feels a fleeting pang of comparison. She reads a headline about a global crisis and feels a wave of anxiety. All of this happens in the first 20 minutes of her day. The phone has already set the emotional tone for her morning, oscillating between connection, envy, and worry. It is a silent director, orchestrating her feelings before she has even had a chance to check in with herself. Lunchtime arrives and Alex decides to grab a sandwich from a nearby cafe. While waiting in line, she pulls out her phone. There is no conscious thought behind the action. It is a reflex, a way to fill the uncomfortable void of simply waiting. She scrolls, she taps, she replies to a message. She doesn't notice the interesting architecture of the building across the street or the friendly dog waiting by the door. She is physically present in the cafe, but her mind is somewhere else entirely, lost in the digital labyrinth of her device. This small 2-minute pocket of boredom, a space that might have once led to a daydream or an observation, has been colonized by the screen. The evening is no different. Alex plans to watch a movie, but her phone rests on the couch beside her. A notification buzzes. It's a work email. She tells herself she'll just take a quick look. That quick look turns into a 10-minute reply. By the end of the night, she has watched half a movie, but she has spent just as much time looking at her phone. She feels strangely unsatisfied and tired, as if her brain has been running a marathon. Alex's day, like so many of ours, was lived through a screen, punctuated by moments in the real world. Alex's story is not unusual. It is the blueprint for modern life. Her day is built upon a foundation of hundreds of tiny phone-related habits. These habits are so small and so frequent that we barely register them as choices. Think about the simple act of checking your phone. It doesn't feel like a significant decision, yet the average person does this over 150 times a day. Each check is a micro-interruption, a tiny tear in the fabric of our attention. It's the habit of pulling out your phone the second you feel a moment of boredom. In an elevator, waiting for a friend, standing in a grocery line. These moments used to be for thinking, observing, just being. Now they are for consuming. These small habits have a cumulative effect, fundamentally rewiring our expectations for daily life. We have grown accustomed to instant gratification. If we have a question, immediate answers from a search engine. If we feel lonely, instant connection from a social media app. This constant access makes us less resilient to the normal discomforts of life. Boredom becomes intolerable. Waiting becomes a waste of time. Uncertainty becomes something to fix with a quick search. Our phones have conditioned us to expect the world to operate at the speed of a tap and a swipe. Consider how your phone has altered your physical habits, not by looking at street signs or landmarks, but by staring at a blue dot on a map. We outsource remembering directions to devices. We choose restaurants by scrolling reviews, by ratings on an app. Efficient? Yes. but it removes us from discovery and direct engagement. We follow a script written by an algorithm, not writing our own story. The most powerful habits are those we perform without thinking. Phones create them. The feedback loop is simple and effective. A slight stimulus, a notification buzz, a feeling of unease. We check the phone. We get a small reward, new information, or social validation. Repeat this loop hundreds of times and it forges a neurological connection. The desire to check arises on its own. We're no longer just responding, we're seeking it out, driven by a habit we helped build but no longer control. It is no accident that your phone is so hard to put down. Every app, every notification, every feature has been crafted to capture your attention. These are the architects of the attention economy. They borrow from gambling, slot machines. The brain is wired to seek rewards, especially unpredictable ones. This is the core principle that makes your phone so compelling. Every pull to refresh is like pulling a slot lever. Notifications are one of their most powerful tools. That little red dot, that buzz in your pocket, that simple banner at the top of your screen. It's an irresistible call to action. It creates urgency and social obligation. A red circle with a number is not a suggestion. It's an unanswered question in your brain. We want to resolve it. Clear the red dot. See the message. Close the loop. Designers fight for notification permission. Your lock screen becomes a battlefield. Infinite feeds are another key strategy. Think about the apps you use. Do they end? Or can you scroll forever? Infinite scroll removes stopping cues. Magazines had a last page. TV shows had credits. Those told you to stop. With an infinite feed, there is no last page. One more post, one more video, one more photo. It preys on FOMO and curiosity, keeping you scrolling past time. The techniques used to hold our attention go even deeper than notifications and infinite feeds. They tap into the fundamental wiring of our brains using sensory cues like colors and sounds to guide our behavior. Notice the colors used by the most popular apps. Why are notification badges almost always a bright, alarming red? Because red is a trigger color that signals importance, urgency, and even danger. Our brains are conditioned to pay immediate attention to it. It's the color of a stop sign, a warning light, and a fire engine. By using this color for notifications, app designers are hijacking a primal part of our brain to make sure we look. The sounds of our phones are just as meticulously engineered. Each ping, buzz, and chime is a carefully chosen auditory cue. It is a sonic signature designed to be instantly recognizable and to create a sense of anticipation. Think of the distinct sound of receiving a text message versus an email. You know exactly what it is without even looking. These sounds function like Pavlov's bell. At first, the sound is just a noise, but after it is repeatedly paired with the reward of a new message or social interaction, the sound itself becomes enough to trigger a feeling of anticipation and a desire to check the device. The sound creates the itch, and grabbing the phone is the only way to scratch it. The most powerful psychological principle at play is what is known as a variable reward schedule. This is the magic ingredient that makes slot machines so addictive, and it is precisely what makes our phones so irresistible. A variable reward is one that is unpredictable. If you knew you would get a reward every single time you checked your phone, it would become boring. If you knew you would never get a reward, you would stop checking. But when the reward is unpredictable, sometimes you have a great new message, sometimes you have a new like, and sometimes you have nothing, your brain becomes hooked on the possibility. The uncertainty is what drives the compulsive checking behavior. This system creates a powerful loop. You refresh your email and sometimes there's an important message, but most of the time there's just junk. You scroll your social feed and sometimes there's a hilarious video, but most of the time it's just noise. This unpredictability keeps you coming back for more. The what if is the engine of the habit. The phone is not just a tool, it is a portable slot machine that we play hundreds of times a day, hoping for a small jackpot of information or social approval. While our phones promise a world of endless connection, they often leave us feeling more isolated and anxious than ever before. The constant barrage of information, notifications, social pressures. One of the most common feelings associated with heavy smartphone use is a low-grade, persistent anxiety. We feel the pressure to be constantly available, to respond to messages and emails immediately. A delay in response, either from ourselves or others, can create feelings of stress and worry. The phone, which is supposed to connect us, becomes a source of social obligation that never sleeps. This constant connectivity also fuels a culture of social comparison. On social media, we are presented with a highly curated and filtered version of other people's lives. The perfect vacations, the happy relationships, the career successes. We rarely see the messy, boring, or difficult parts of their reality. Messy parts, boring parts, difficult parts. In our hyper-connected world, we've come to glorify multitasking. We pride ourselves on answering an email during a conference call. We scroll social media while watching a movie. We think this makes us more efficient. But neuroscience says true multitasking is a myth. The human brain can't focus on two demanding tasks at once. What we do is task switching, rapid shifts of attention. This switching has a real cost. Every switch, like moving from writing a report to checking a text, forces your brain to reorient. Disengaging and re-engaging takes time and mental energy. Switching back repeats that cost. That creates attention residue, lingering thoughts that sap focus. You end up performing worse on both tasks. More errors, lower comprehension. Smartphone interruptions drive this problem. One notification can derail your train of thought for minutes. Studies show it can take up to 20 minutes to regain deep focus. If notifications arrive every few minutes, deep work never happens. You live in constant cognitive disruption, operating below capacity. The good news is that you are not powerless. Recognizing how your phone is designed to control you is the first step toward taking back your autonomy. You don't need to throw your phone away to regain control. You just need to be more intentional about how you use it. The goal is to transform your relationship with your device from a compulsive one to a conscious one. This can be achieved through a series of small, practical changes to your environment and your habits. These changes act as speed bumps that slow you down and force you to make a deliberate choice rather than acting on a mindless reflex. First, start by curating your digital environment. Turn off all non-essential notifications, open settings, and disable banners. Disable sounds, disable red badges. Do you really need to know the instant someone likes your photo? Or that a store is having a sale? Probably not. Only keep alerts from real people trying to contact you directly. Phone calls. Messages from close family. Silencing the noise removes constant triggers that pull you out of the real world. This single change can dramatically reduce reflexive phone reaches. Next, redesign your home screen. Most of us keep addictive apps on page 1, social media, email, news. Move them off your home screen and bury them in a folder on page 2 or 3. That small friction forces you to seek the app deliberately. In the end, this is not a battle against technology itself. Smartphones are remarkable tools that have given us incredible capabilities. They connect us with loved ones across the globe. They provide us with the sum of human knowledge. They help us navigate the world with ease. The problem is not the technology, but the business model built on capturing and monetizing human attention. The architects of this economy have become so successful that we've started to lose control over our time and focus. We have allowed the tools we created to serve us to begin to control us. But awareness changes everything. Once you understand the psychological tricks at play, variable rewards, social validation loops trigger colors and sounds, you can no longer be a passive victim of their influence. You can see the red notification badge not as an urgent command, but as a deliberate attempt to hijack your attention. You can recognize the infinite scroll not as an endless source of entertainment, but as a design choice meant to keep you from stopping. This knowledge demystifies the process and transforms you from a puppet into a conscious observer who can see the strings. The path forward is about intention. It is about actively deciding what role you want this powerful device to play in your life. Do you want it to be your master, dictating how you spend your minutes and coloring your emotional state? Or do you want it to be your servant, a useful tool that you pick up to accomplish a specific task and then put down? The choice is yours to make, every single day. It is made when you turn off notifications, when you move an app into a folder, when you leave your phone in another room, and when you choose to look up and engage with the world in front of you. You are not an algorithm. You are a human being with the capacity for deep thought, meaningful connection, and profound presence. The power to direct your own attention, to choose your own thoughts, and to live your own life has always been within you. The phone has not taken that power away. It has only made you forget you have it. The next time you pick up your device, take a breath. Ask yourself, what do I want to do right now? Make a conscious choice. In that small moment of intention, you reclaim your freedom. The power you will find is not in the shimmering glass of the screen, but in the hand that holds it.